Good morning or afternoon. I guess I nerded out a little bit on the theme of the Talent Board's virtual conference and decided to stay with the Star Wars theme. Yes, nerdy, I know, but Kevin and I share an appreciation for the film genre. And while hope is an optimistic approach, it's not always a strategic one, especially when it comes to talent. Today, hiring has been more demanding and more demanding as organizations are challenged to find the right people and improve retention. Targeted sourcing can help restore order and deliver positive results to your recruiting galaxy. So let's find the new hope. My name is Darren Findley, and I'm the president of Recruiting Solutions at Engage to Excel. I have the privilege of leading a highly engaged team of candidate engagement specialists and recruiters who deliver great candidate experiences and achieve hiring targets for our clients every single day. I've been in recruiting for over 30 years, and I've loved every day of it. And I'm honored and privileged to be able to present to you today. And today, we're going to discuss the rise of targeted sourcing and how you can use labor market data and marketing insights to deliver the best candidate who will be a top performer for your organization. I was always taught that hope is not a strategy, so you better have a plan. So today, let's talk about how you can make a plan and craft a targeted sourcing plan that will help you deliver more of those top performers. We'll define what targeted sourcing really means and what information and data is available and how to use that data to craft a targeted sourcing plan to deliver the right candidate experience and more top performers into your business. But first, let's stop and take a look and see where the economy is right now. Most businesses remain optimistic regarding the next 6 to 12 months as COVID vaccines become more widely distributed. I look at the Beige Book reports, I look at the BLS, look at a lot of different sources to gain information on what's going on in the labor markets because, yes, I do geek out on that as well. But reports on consumer spending and auto sales show that that's been mixed. Although a few regions of the country have reported slight improvements in travel and tourism activity, overall conditions in the leisure and hospitality sector continue to be restrained by ongoing COVID restrictions. I did notice this morning on the news that 22 states have lifted almost all other restrictions around restaurants and back to full capacity. But while 22 states is encouraging, there's still, over half the states don't have that. So despite challenges in the supply chain disruption, overall manufacturing activity for most areas increased moderately in the last several months, and historically low mortgage interest rates continue to spur this robust demand for both new and existing homes in most parts of the country, and home prices continue to rise in many areas of the U.S. From a real estate standpoint, and on balance to that, commercial real estate conditions, especially in the hotel, retail, and office sectors, deteriorated somewhat. But as manufacturing has increased, the industrial segment of real estate has also continued to strengthen. Most areas reported that energy observed a slight uptick and related to oil and gas production and energy consumption. And overall, on the agricultural front, ag conditions are somewhat improved since last quarter. And transportation activity grew modestly for many areas. As a needed sign that more areas are opening up, airlines have actually added 41% more capacity for July than they had seats that they sold in January. So they're absolutely anticipating growing demand. So what about wages and employment? Most parts of the country reported that employment levels rose over this last reporting period, albeit very slowly, meaning that unemployment figures improved. Labor demand varied considerably by industry and by skill level, and many areas noted continued difficulties in attracting and retaining qualified workers. Labor shortages were noted most acute among low-skill occupations and skilled trade positions. And remember, we still have a significant number of women who remain outside the workforce. Constraints on the labor supply, including those related to COVID-19, child care, and unemployment benefits, remain. Overall, most expect modest improvements in employment in the near term, but also several areas begin to report modest wage increases for high-demand positions, with many also noting upward pressure on wages to attract and retain employees. Wage increases for many areas are expected to persist or to pick up somewhat over the next several months. So what does this all mean? It means it's still very difficult to attract and find the right talent, and you have to have a targeted sourcing strategy to be successful. So what is a targeted sourcing strategy? So targeted sourcing, in my mind, is recruiting that is used to actively target, identify, contact, screen, and evaluate potential candidates to meet your organization's positions requirements. That's a lot around targeted sourcing, right? But I believe targeted sourcing is about applying the right amount of investment, both time and money, the optimal ROI. Get the best candidates who will be top performers and contribute to the success of these organizations. It's a strategy that's used in recruitment advertising to describe the process of narrowing down your advertising efforts on a specific audience based on differentiating factors like geography, skill set, behaviors, competencies, and experience. So targeted recruitment is just that. It's targeted. So you think about all the different tools you have in your toolbox and working hard to leverage those innovative sourcing solutions that you have. As you're crafting your overall sourcing strategy, you have an ecosystem that you're working within. And depending on your budget, on your technology adoption, and the variety of roles you have to recruit for, you're going to be able to need to leverage multiple sources to get the best available talent and deliver a quality hire. You have to also at the same time think about how do I reduce costs and improve time to hire and really ensure business growth. So your goal must be to engage not only the active job seekers, but also the passive job seekers. So again, tying all these disparate pieces into a coherent TA strategy is really critical. So there has to be focus. Focus on your sourcing strategy. You'll need to leverage the channel that is the most effective for each of your critical job families. So whether it's social media, grassroots, or your university partnerships, identifying the right channel for the right demographic cohort is key. Messaging must also be aligned, as well as your overarching employment brand. Got to be highlighted and communicated in that same channel that you're using. So again, tying all these disparate pieces into a coherent strategy is key, not only to simplify your execution and maintain your key EV2 messaging, but also along the way, your goal is to create brand advocates and ambassadors, not just externally, but also internally as well. So moving from a reactive approach to a proactive approach is really key. You have to change your approach to drive a new strategy. And you have to determine how can you move from a reactive to a proactive approach. And here's just 5 things to consider. And number one, which I really think is probably the most important, you're going to learn so much, is be the business partner that your C-suite has always wanted you to be. Think about what keeps your CEO and your COO awake at night. Is it turnover? Is it constant churn in the frontline workers? Is it the lack of frontline workers? Or is it having the best talent to take the organization to the next level? And then just ask the question, who are the top performers? Why are they top performers? And what makes them top performers? And then thirdly, know the labor markets that you're in. What are the constraints? Who are the competitors? And where is that supply of talent that you want to tap into? And the more you learn about labor markets in different regions of the country, the more you can tailor your approach. Especially with the rise of remote work, you now have a whole new talent pool out there that you can tap into in different markets. So move from that reactive environment to a proactive strategic approach, and then craft an approach that drives business impact by leveraging your targeted sourcing strategy, one that delivers top performers into the organization. And we're focused on external sourcing strategy today. Let's take a look at the traditional funnel that we're all familiar with. And when I think about the funnel, I think about flipping the funnel. The funnel on the left is a traditional funnel. Lots of candidates at the top and fewer at the bottom. When we talk about leveraging your sourcing solutions and becoming proactive versus reactive, it's about flipping the funnel approach from a high volume, broad reach program to a targeted approach that is crafted to your target audience of top performers. It's about moving from an approach where marketing and candidate generation dollars are spent arbitrarily throughout that funnel one that is directed toward the spend with the right content and the right messaging to the right candidate at the right time. It means it's time to think like your marketing department, with the goal of creating brand advocates and ambassadors that are drawn to your opportunities because it fits their lifestyle and their career goals. And let me tell you how I was enlightened. Years ago at a bowling alley, and it was not an easy task that we were up against. We were tasked with hiring 1,200 pharmacy technicians in 8 months for one of our customers, and it was a Fortune 10 customer. The market was already saturated, the supply was very limited, and we began spending like crazy. We spent $180,000 a quarter on every kind of sourcing channel you can imagine, and we were failing miserably. I was at my wit's end, and I went to our lead IO and our PhD and our marketing department and begged for help from both of them. The IO recommended to study the top performers, and the marketing department recommended Prism segmentation. And both said, if you listen to the data will tell you what to do. Here we go. So we began with segmentation. And segmentation is a way to define a person or a household trait. It identifies common characteristics such as demographic trends, lifestyle trends, and consumer spending trends. The focus groups provide us with a ton of valuable information about the roles, the day in the life, the intent to leave, why they stayed, the competencies, and the cultural values. And we brought them both together and applied marketing segmentation to the analysis of that group. We found these are the top performers. Well, let's spend just a little bit of time talking about what market segmentation is and how to craft this great candidate experience. We use the data and the segmentation data to craft this unique candidate experience because with segmentation, you can optimize your labor market and what's available in your labor market. It'll help you craft the right message through targeted marketing campaigns, direct mail campaigns, or whatever kind of campaigns you want to use, but it tells you how to craft unique attraction strategies. And so you'll understand where the highest concentration of your top performers are hanging out. You'll know what kind of technology they use the most. And you can also use the same data to adjust and impact your diversity strategy to deepen the pool to complement your DE&I program. With Prism segmentation, you'll also be able to understand who they are and where they are, where they buy and where they go. Segmentation combines behavior, preferences, and device utilization data together so you know the right channel to use to deliver your message. Remember, the right message at the right place at the right time means the right candidate. And with segmentation, you're going to know where they buy their gas, where they bank, where they buy their groceries, what kind of car they drive. And why are these things important? Well, let me tell you. Remember that need for 1,200 pharmacy technicians? Well, we were spending that $180,000 a quarter and we were failing. But once we applied the science of the top performer study and the Prism segmentation, we were able to craft unique messages that resonated with our targeted audience. See, that's what we mean, targeted sourcing. All the top performers we studied in this group, they actually fell into 5 unique Prism segments. I thought it was going to be just one. I thought it would be really easy, but I was still learning. As we began to compare those 5 segments, we found out that they were all very representative of age, race, family makeup, and household level. They only had 2 things in common. You ready? Number 1, they went bowling once a month, and number 2, they added Taco Bell. All right, so I was wondering, how was I going to use this to help our teams be successful? And so I went back to the IOs, and they said, you need to have bowling parties. And I thought they had lost their mind. But they told me, trust the data. And I did, and the bowling parties were a huge success. They showed up at those bowling parties, and if I'd been really smart, I would have served Taco Bell. But we filled those 1,200 roles in the next 8 months. The power of the data to inform and craft targeted sourcing strategy was amazing. And by the way, those quarterly bowling parties only cost about $10,000 a quarter, saving a ton of money for the organization. Our qualification rate went from 29% to 80%, driving quality of hire. And we've done the same exercise on multiple job families. With Dickinson Fleet Services, we were able to lower their turnover by over 200% by crafting a targeted sourcing strategy. Dickinson Fleet Services spends $100,000 per truck to craft a great truck that goes out from customer to customer that the diesel mechanics can use to service those customers. And their trucks, in their mind, were always their number one draw. But as time went on, they were getting diminishing returns from the sourcing efforts. We segmented their top performers, and we found that they fell into 8 unique segments. We found the commonalities in those 8 segments were this: outdoors, 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 hunting and fishing, and family, and outdoors. So we then crafted a unique sourcing approach that highlighted time with family, freedom of schedule, getting the outdoors. We also changed the graphics from trucks to outdoors. The targeted sourcing strategy delivered business results of lower turnover. It also significantly increased the bottom of the funnel of brand ambassadors, of those waiting for roles to open. Hence, a strong keep warm strategy was necessary, but that's a story for another day. So how to use the targeted sourcing strategy to craft the right candidate experience and drive better results. Just number one, think about lifestyle marketing and create a marketing campaign that meets the lifestyle of your top performers. Number two, use targeted messages to increase the connection with your candidates and the values of the organization. Be thoughtful of the device approach. Of course, mobile is so prevalent today. We know that 98% of all texts are read versus only 50% of emails that get read. So think carefully about the device and the channel you're going to use to deliver that message, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or some other social media device is critical. And then utilize demographic and segment appropriate graphics. Let your candidates see themselves in your ads and your messaging. Whether it's for the outdoors or finding fulfillment, they need to think that they can see themselves in your roles. And then utilize the right incentives at the right time. So whether it's during the process of pre-boarding and recognizing the candidate for that positive behavior that creates engaged candidates, just remember, recognition creates engagement. And what you want is candidates who are willing to exert discretionary effort in the recruiting process. And today, most hiring processes still require extra effort on the candidate's part. That's also a topic for another day. But having the right incentives at the right time will help you craft a great targeted sourcing strategy. So when you think about getting started, just think about these 5 things. And number one is to understand who are your top performers and why they're important to the business. Remember, ask the question, understand what keeps your C-suite up at night. Number 2 is understand your labor market. Watch the trend. Understand what's happening in advance. When unemployment starts to go down and labor markets get tighter, how are you going to respond to those things? Be a labor market junkie. Number 3, conduct focus groups. Understand the key competencies, understand the preferences, understand the day in the life. And by the way, you can forget exit interviews. You've got to start stay interviews. The information that you'll gain from those focus groups will be valuable to the business today and to your recruiting tomorrow. And number 4 is collect and study the demographic data and segment that data into PRISM segments. Understand which segment these top performers fall into. That way, number 5, you can design a uniquely created experience to draw that talent into the organization. So I hope today has helped you understand a little bit more about a unique way to craft a targeted sourcing strategy. And so I just want to thank you so much for the time today. I'll turn it back now over to Kevin or Ron for any questions that you may have, and thank you very much.